Hey everybody, and welcome to a very special episode of the United States of a Movie podcast. Every Monday is now a fun day because it's the day that we get to sit, talk about amazing movies, and really get into the nitty-gritty. Because usually the question is, can we define one movie that basically represents every state in the United States? But this week we're doing something special because it's spooky season, so the state we're going to is the state of fear. And this is a place I do not like to be, but my two co-hosts are, I don't know, psychopaths, and they love these kind of movies. So first of all, let's welcome them. Ryan Sandler. Oh, actually, no, you're not Ryan Sandler. You're Diane Sandler today.
That's
welcome
right.
to the show.
That's right. Oh man, it's great to be here from back from the grave. And when you said we were doing State of Fear, I thought we were all going to get to watch Fear with Mark Wahlberg, but instead we got to dunk you into a tank of immersion therapy and conquer your fears.
I don't know if we conquered any bloody fears. You just immersed me in a well of horror. But of course, we can't continue with also welcoming back to the show Thrill Hirsch. Thrill, welcome back.
Great to be here. And guys, this is crazy. I got a great deal on this Airbnb. I do have to share it with somebody unexpectedly. And there's this crazy, these tunnels and rooms. Nuts. They're weird noises, but you know what? It's time to do the podcast.
You got a little milk. You got a little milk mustache going on there.
You listen. I met a special lady down here. You know, but we'll get to her in a bit.
Yeah. Will, you should definitely go and investigate that murder tunnel with absolutely no qualms whatsoever. Today, what we're trying to do is to find the scariest movie. The scariest movie to represent America. And I have to be honest, guys, just pat yourselves on the back because we have inadvertently done a great bloody job with the three movies that we chose, because we've ended up with a classic horror movie, a disruptive horror movie, and then a movie that, because of the disruption, exists. It's like we've honestly done a great job, and I cannot wait to talk about these movies. Why don't we start off with Will? What is the movie that you brought to the table? An absolute classic, an absolute banger, and I hate you for it. What movie was it?
I mean, so real quick off the bat, we'll get to it in our also rans later, but because I came very close to picking a different movie, but based on the comment section in your TikTok, I was the people demand one thing, so I brought to the table Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the OG, not one of the 95 semi-sequels and reboots that they made. And it's one of the worst managed franchises ever, but we went with the original.
And Will, as our resident leathered face, I assume you've got this breadth of knowledge from the pantheon of leather-bound chainsaw misfit movies.
I've got. I see if I can find it. I had it earlier, a list of all the Leatherface related movies, because they're not all called Texas Chainsaw Massacre. No. That would make too much sense. But so and I have the explanation for what they all are in terms of the chronology, and it is insane.
It's what, dude. It's, I mean, the timeline on it's even when just googling to find, searching to find the original and where to watch, the list of them is so long. It's an insane franchise.
Yeah, you type in Texas Chainsaw Massacre into any of the streaming services, and good luck finding the right one.
Because and Ollie's social media pulls up.
Half these movies are called Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah,
with no explanation for what they are.
No. There were a few. I mean, I literally had to text you guys and go, "This is the right one, right? This is the one," because there's 700.
And we talked about this. As I always often bring up, the one I'd always seen because it was just on HBO all the time when I was a kid was the Matthew McConaughey one. I think it's The New Generation from '94 or something like that. And that was my first foray into that universe, because the original, you just couldn't really. It was never on anywhere. It's more or less like a really gross porno snuff film, in tone and vibe.
Especially with that 70s vibe. It definitely gives that. But at the same time, it is a you can see it. It's the DNA of horror.
Oh, yeah. It's the genesis of the final girls and all of that. It's incredible.
It was
It's the Jaws of like slasher movies.
I know. There's, you've got Halloween, you've got Friday the 13th. I mean, like, and then you've got Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But
this was first, right? This came out, and this was
74,
and then Halloween came out, right? So I mean, this you can really see that this was the genesis for an entire genre. And I bet people seeing this in the 70s were fucking horrified. I'm sure they were.
Well, I was pretty horrified in 2020. Yeah. What are we, 3 now?
I hated this. I hated watching this movie. Yeah. I hated myself for watching this movie.
It's not a fun watch.
No.
I had to do the entire movie while at the same time communicating through Instagram stories. And I don't do Instagram stories, but I was like, I have to let this out somewhere. Yeah. So I just talked to the internet about what the hell is going on. But that being said, we will get to this movie because, I mean, we're going to get to all these movies. This might be a 7-hour podcast. So I was, I put a video out, much like Will was saying, I don't have a lot of horror experience. So I don't, my wealth of knowledge, it's very, very shallow. So I kind of put a call out, and Will, thank you for jumping on that grenade of you've got to do Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which opened up the opportunity for me to do something, to bring a movie that we've talked about on the show before, which is Cabin in the Woods. Which is a movie that disrupted the entire horror franchise. I think, Ryan, you brought it up because you said much in the way that Dewey Cox basically ruined every musical biopic for you. Mm-hmm. Cabin in the Woods is such a great movie because it kind of just explains away the entire theory of horror movies. Fantastic movie, very entertaining. But then, Ryan, the movie that you picked, like I said, I don't think Barbarian exists. Cabin in the Woods walked so Barbarian could run. So yeah, tell us about your movie.
Well, it's so funny you say that because when we talked about this, last week it caught us all, I think, off guard with doing a special episode, which I'm so glad that we did, and we'll definitely do this more. But we wanted to pick. I think landing on these 3 movies was no easy task. Like, there's once you get into, and I love horror films. It's like one of my favorite genres, and there's such a breadth of films you can pick and pull from. And I like the idea of us picking something old, something new, and then Cabin in the Woods, which kind of sits in the middle and it just pastiches like everything you've seen. But it's funny, but it's still a grisly take on a horror film. It's of the Cabin trilogy, it's maybe my favorite. You've got Cabin in the Woods, Cabin Fever, Chris Elliott and Cabin Boy. I mean, they're all there.
Classic trilogy.
If you can pick up the box set, it's great.
Unorthodox trilogy, but yeah.
So I tell you what, let's go through this chronologically. There we go. I finally found the word. But the interesting thing as well is that we're doing this special episode, this horror-themed episode. Yesterday was Friday the 13th. Today is a solar eclipse. So by horror movie logic, we're all about to die anyway.
Yeah. Wait, you guys didn't wake up this morning and sacrifice to the blood gods? Oh, no.
Shit.
I did it every other day this week. But boy. You know what? This is the one day.
I knew I was supposed to do something. I forgot to sacrifice to the blood gods. So let's start off with the iconic Texas Chainsaw Massacre. All right, so yesterday was the first time I've watched it. It's also going to be the last time I ever fucking watch it too.
It's like Will said, it's not fun times all around. It's not.
No. It is not particularly fun. The last 20 minutes is nothing but pure screaming. Yeah. I mean, like, legitimately just screaming. But let's start. Will, why did you pick it? When was the first time you saw it? What do you think about this movie? Just talk about it. I want to hear all about this.
Yeah, so I picked it because, like I said, a lot of people were bringing it up, and I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? It is like the starting point for like where modern horror kind of came from. Before this, horror was kind of, and not exactly, but like relegated to like traditional types of monster movies. You had like stalker films, like Night of the Hunter and all that, way back in the day. But this was like the start of like proper, like low budget, grimy, realistic horror movies, like for real. There was Last House on the Left, I think I should have looked this up beforehand. Maybe a little bit after, a little bit before. I forget.
And then, like Amityville Horror too is around that same time.
Yeah. 70s was like about the time when like horror as we kind of understand it today started, and like this was like known for a long time as like the king of like slasher horror. It was banned in the UK for decades.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And what's funny is it's not even really, if you think about it, it's not even that bloody or gory. You don't
Not-
see almost
really.
any of it. It's just
No.
the ideas are so scary and terrifying.
I almost feel like the fact that it is so low budget, it makes it creepier.
Oh, for sure.
You
Yeah.
know, the fact that it's
Yeah.
not so polished feels very. By the way,
I was gonna
Last
say-
House on the Left was 1972, so you were correct.
Okay.
It came a
Okay, so
couple years
just before, yeah.
But yeah, it's as I'm watching it, it almost feels more nerve-wracking because it kind of almost feels like you're watching someone's Instagram story, you know, or some like social
For sure.
media
It's
video.
so. I was thinking that watching it, it's like it's so perfectly imperfect the way it's filmed, and some of the camera work in it is unbelievable. Like the way it looks, like it's a fantastic looking film that I again never want to see again. Ever.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely
But-
I forgot watching it because the first time I saw it, I must have been in high school, or no. I had just started working at the video store. That's what it was. So this is like 2005 is when I finally saw it. And I had forgotten that there was actually some like really good camera work and really good like shots in here.
When she gets
I
off of that swing and it's like that dolly shot like right behind. I mean, there's some just the camera work's great.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's
there's some
but
great
it's so uneasy.
great stuff. And Toby Hooper doesn't really get the credit he deserves sometimes. He famously, you know, in Poltergeist, people are like, Spielberg ghost directed that. I've said before in this podcast, I don't quite believe that because
I don't think so either.
Hooper is good.
Especially after seeing his work in this, I'm like,
Yeah,
I
you know
just
what?
don't know, you know?
I agree because I was definitely one of those people that said it feels so Spielbergian, but you're right. Watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the guy he does get it. I mean,
Yeah.
it is. I mean, it is a good movie. It's just there's so many times I'm just talking to the TV going, well, you brought this on yourselves, you fucking idiots.
Yeah, I see we glaze over the plot of this movie, but I think it can be captured as nosy teens interrupt family dinner.
Yeah.
Well, I think Patton Oswalt, I think one time did a joke about the title of
Okay.
this movie, where it's like you say the title and you've kind of seen the movie.
Yeah,
Like the title just tells you what the movie is. It's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's nothing more than that. That's exactly what it is. So it's one of the most. They deliver on the title, pretty
it's
much.
the Ron Seal quit drying wood stain of
that's
movies.
right. I was gonna say that's what it says on the tin.
But I tell you what, I mean, halfway through the movie, I mean, like again, so I'm doing this all live on Instagram, and so like 3 of them have already died at this point. It happened very quickly, and I was like, well. They did break into his house.
Yeah.
Was he standing his ground? I mean, even legally, he's in the clear.
And it's hard watching this now too because of everything that has come after it. It's every death is because the first person goes in, and then the next person goes looking for that person, and then the next person goes looking for that person, and then the next person goes looking for that person.
Yeah.
And it's just and then you get to like something like a Cabin Fever, which kind of captures that. It puts a little spin on it, but this movie was such a game changer, and I think like it's such a difficult genre to really innovate on, and it wasn't until like say something like the Blair Witch Project, which had this huge marketing campaign behind it, and then you have something like Scream, which really also kind of shifted the genre, and really there was like nothing quite like that until, you know, Cabin in the Woods came to like do that. And
you know, that's interesting.
It's so great to see the genesis.
You just name dropped all of the horror movies that I've seen. So I've watched all of the game changers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've never been like, you know, we've seen Will was posting on our text thread yesterday. You know, you've got the box set of every Friday the 13th ever made. You know, you live in basically a library of movies. You know, whereas for me, it's like I don't get. I mean, the thing is, I enjoyed these movies. I did. But I don't. I'm not one of those people that enjoys the roller coaster of horror movies. It's just like, oh, that's not what I'm looking for.
And I think I think because too, there's a lot of familiarity in that. Like I don't need to watch. I mean, though you should watch maybe like the first Friday the 13th and the first Nightmare on Elm Street, and the first Hellraiser. But beyond that, they don't do anything new. It's all kind of the same concept.
I think that's it. I think the lack of the appeal for me has always been the kind of like the cut and paste of horror. Which is why, like you're saying, I watched Blair Witch Project. You know, I watched, what was the other one you just mentioned that was also quite, Scream, right? Scream was brilliant. of just like, you know, that it's in the same way that Cabin in the Woods does it. It's like we're stepping outside of horror and looking at horror from the outside in.
And now you have like seven Scream movies, and it's kind of like how often, how
that's the thing.
It's such a difficult thing to reinvent.
I watched the first one, but I mean, who cares about the rest of them? It's like you can't capture that again. You can't put it back in. So really quickly, just in case you're like me and you haven't watched the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but much like Will says, do you really have to explain the plot? You don't. It's a massacre in Texas with a chainsaw. We're all aware of Leatherface. The fun part for me in the movie is like, that's actually his name. Like, because the brother calls him Leatherface. I go, oh, is this Leatherface Jones? You know, it's like, is this on his birth certificate?
No, their last name is, oh my God.
Sawyer.
Is that
Sawyer Sawyer is the last name. I don't think they say it in this movie. They definitely say it in 2.
Okay.
Ooh, quickly, let's welcome the 4th host of our podcast, the dog next door.
Yeah, trying to mute it as it's like, oh, man. But
don't worry about
somebody,
it.
somebody 8 houses.
The Hellhound.
Somebody 8 houses down stepped outside and stepped on a leaf, so this dog obviously has to freak out. So
you know what? It's fine. Like I said, we're gonna name this dog. This is gonna become a character. I appreciate this dog and welcome it to the show. So essentially, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is 5 hippies are driving across Texas. There's a sister and a brother. There's Sally, played by Marilyn Burns, is it? And then Franklin, played by Paul Partain, who is in a wheelchair. So you've got Franklin, who's honestly the most annoying character in the entire movie.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Sally, and then 3 other people who are irrelevant to name because they're just dead meat, essentially. But it's 5 people are driving to, we're going to go check out a house, which is owned by Sally and Franklin's dad. In the middle of nowhere's Texas. And trust me, people in Texas have been telling me it was in Round Rock. They've been telling me where it is. You can go and see it. My whole thing was that was a really messed up house considering they haven't been there for like 10 years. There was a lot of like...
Yeah, and it's been a rough decade.
And yet 2 of them are so horny. And she's like, yeah, this was my bedroom I grew up in. I'm like, this place sucks. Like, what? Like,
yeah, they had a pretty traumatic childhood. But it was a nice house. I mean, considering it's like it was made with stone. But essentially, like the crux of it is they get really close to the house, and it's something I mentioned to you guys on the text thread. It's a classic trope of the creepy gas station.
Oh yeah.
We had the creepy gas station in Skeleton Key last week. We had the creepy gas station turns up in Cabin in the Woods because it's referencing it. But yeah, we turn up at the creepy gas station where they sell some barbecue. They don't really have any gas. I forgot about that place until an hour and 15 minutes into it. I'm like, oh shit, here we go.
Just to point out too, there's a sign at the top where it says like fresh butchered like, are they butchering barbecue at this gas station?
I had the same thought.
Awesome. And Ollie, as an Englishman in Texas, is this where do you get all your barbecue at local gas stations?
Not even just Texas though, because you know, we all used to live in Arizona. You guys are, it's like Ryan, you're still there.
Yep.
But I got out into the bit of the boonies in Arizona, and it was like they're selling jerky, but it says fresh slaughtered jerky. Like they hunt, kill, and make so this stuff is real.
And if you've never been to Arizona, it's just a nonstop jerk fest.
It's just people jerking.
Like if you want to get your jerk on, I mean,
Arizona's where to go.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They don't even need to like cure the meat. They just put it out in the sun for 15 minutes.
Pretty much.
But yeah, so that was what's interesting. And like I was saying is they brought this on themselves because they go to this house, they abandon the handicapped brother, and just start jumping around. And then the 2 horny ones go trying to find the swimming hole, which doesn't exist. That's a very Texas thing as well. And then you're missing the hitchhiker. You're missing the hitchhiker they pick up before all of this. You know what? Let's back up. You're right. Let's talk about picking up the literal worst hitchhiker you could pick up in your life. The guy
played by a young Adam Driver.
Yeah, played by Adam Driver. Guy has a bag that looks like it's made out of, I don't know, like a beaver or some roadkill
or something. Yeah.
He's just weird and glitchy and strange. And within 3 minutes of being in their van, has taken a knife and just cut himself. Just starts himself bleeding, then pulls out a straight razor, cuts the guy in the wheelchair. And what really bothered me is that the knife that he took, which he gives back, they then use 5 minutes later.
This is the grossest part of the movie.
to cut barbecue.
Oh,
They're
God.
like, he said, "Oh, is that some blood on the thing?" Yeah. And then 5 fucking minutes later, the sister takes in, cuts a sausage for him, and he's eating it. And I'm like, what the hell is going on?
The longest lasting sausage in cinema history. I mean, he
My
had that
God.
thing in his mouth. Like it was like Arnold Schwarzenegger chewing on a cigar.
On a
as him
cigar. Yeah, he's like
utilizing this.
Hannibal from the A-Team is what I was thinking.
Yeah.
It's like, I love it when a plan comes together. And then he eventually spits the sausage out. But yeah, they pick up this absolute psychopath I mean, even looking at the guy, you were like, that is not someone you pick up. That's someone you run over.
Yeah. Well, this was pre 9/11, so that was commonplace. Yeah.
This guy was such a freak.
Oh my God.
But he comes back later in the movie, which we will get to. But yeah, so they turn up at the house, and then the horny couple are like, well, I guess we need some gas, and they can hear a generator going at the next place over. And the thing is, and I said this on my Instagram story, is like, look, I live in Texas on a parcel of land, right?
That's 30 miles away.
It's like if someone is in Texas with a bunch of land and a house in the middle, the reason we're doing it is because we want to be left the fuck alone. Don't go walking up to, one, the house and knock on the door, but two, don't go in to the house. And this is what I'm saying is I'm on Team Leatherface for the first 3 murders.
For sure. Yeah, no, it's insane. I live in a neighborhood, and I would not just go into somebody's house.
Mm-mm.
It's the most insane. Like, these kids are like the stupidest kids on the planet. They're just, even for horror movie standards, they're pretty dumb.
Yeah. None of them wearing seatbelts in the van.
Yeah, and not to mention the brother Franklin. Right at the very beginning, they call him an invalid. Yeah. The scroll goes by the invalid brother.
Oh yeah, guys, this movie has an opening scroll.
Yeah, that essentially spoils the movie.
Yeah, it tells you everything that this is a super true story that definitely happened. Mm-hmm. Not anything we made up for the movie at all.
Buddy, dude, in Texas, everyone's like, no. It's kind of based off a true story. I mean, literally, in Texas, in Texas, they say, no, dude, this is real. This shit happened. I'm like,
this movie is so important to Texas that one of us almost picked it for our Texas episode.
No shit. And I want to bring this up because I, at that point, was I called Texas out. I'm going to have to call them out when I do the video on Monday. But it's so many people suggested that this would be the movie to best represent Texas to the world. Yes, very, very alarming. The people are like, yeah, that's the movie. Show that one. Then the people will understand Texas when they see that movie.
Maybe because they want people to leave them the fuck alone.
I think. Bang, boom, nail on the head there, buddy. Because everyone's like, stay away from Texas. We're happy.
You want to come to Texas? Watch this movie first. Get the fuck out of here.
But everybody who visits Texas is like, I accidentally watched The Next Generation Texas Chainsaw instead.
They be like me. I watched Dazed and Confused and figured that's what I want. So yeah, the first death, like, you know, I'm again, like, so I'm recording videos as it's happening, and it just happens, and it's quite fucked up.
This kind of sets the tone, and I had to, because I hadn't seen this movie in forever, but the sound design in this movie is unlike anything you would come to expect. So like when Leatherface comes out and bonks that dude on the head with a mallet, you don't hear anything. That dude just drops to the floor.
But what do you hear? You hear his boots. Yeah. Because he's basically having, like, you know, he's
oh God.
He's not dead yet. And it's that thing that they referenced when they went past the slaughterhouse as well. Is it's all about, in the back in the day we used to hit him on the head with a mallet, you know, with a sledgehammer. But that was the bit that, honestly, the most uncomfortable bit of the movie was he's been hit, he falls to the floor, and he's just having all these, like, you know, muscle spasms, and his feet are kicking until he gets the second hit. And, like, I mean, I was watching the video, like, rewatching my story before it vanished, but it was just me just going, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's this. I was gonna say that this movie just makes you feel uncomfortable and it's a feeling that's really difficult for a movie to capture in a like to sit there and just crawl inside your own skin. It's hard to do that, and this movie started it all, I guess, you know.
And I like that you say that again. To go back to what you guys were saying, because the next death is like when the girl turns up, and suddenly the camera turns and you see the meat hook.
That's the worst
what's
one
coming.
Oh,
But at the same time, instead of it being like a 2000s movie where, like, this is lazy, even though I've not really got into the horror genre, I saw that and I knew that, like, I imagined being in the 70s and watching that moment.
It's Chekhov's meat hook.
Yeah, Chekhov's meat hook. There you go. Because it's just so so casual,
deliberate.
Yeah.
The fact that she doesn't die right away and that they leave her is just the absolute worst.
And then she has to watch Leatherface
start carving the guy up. And it's like, and Will, I didn't even realize it really until you said it earlier, but it's not that gory.
No.
Right.
I mean, let's go back to, what was the Iowa movie with the Crazies?
Oh, the Crazies, yeah.
Right, but there was that scene where she's hiding in the thing and it's filled with bodies and viscera and stuff like that. Whereas in this case, it's mostly just bones, that kind of creep you out. It's just bones and femurs and
it's funny because you can tell that was like, so before she gets put on the hook, she stumbles into this room that's just covered in bones. Chicken feathers and bones, and if she like pans up and it's just a skeleton, but it's like a skeleton they got from like a high school biology class.
Right.
You can see it's not like it's implied to be a human skeleton, but it's just the bones are so pristine and white. Like
it looks like they got it from like Michael's or something. It's that kind of skeleton.
It was the creepy daybed. The daybed covered in bones was kind of which definitely got me like, what the hell? And it's just like the whole movie had me talking to the screen, which I think is reflective of, which is why that's what horror became for decades. Of, what are you doing? Why are you going there? That's a stupid idea. Just like, I can't help but.
And it's still going. People still do it. People are still going to see these movies.
Well, the thing is, I think that's part of it. Is that what alleviates our guilt for the eventual delicious murder? Is, well, you did it to yourself. It's like, I would have gone in the opposite direction. You went in, you chose to do that. You had every opportunity to not be an idiot, and you died. Well, that's your fucking problem. Is that it? Is that the definition of horror? Is that we have this sort of sense of superiority?
Well, I mean, think about it. You were just talking about on your social media the other day about someone standing in an empty parking space to save the parking.
Right.
Like let's wrap a whole movie around that. Those people need to go.
Yeah. The 95% consensus on that video was anyone standing in a parking space is wrong. And
the other 5% was that person standing in the
5%. Yeah, there are 5% people go, I do that, and I'm like, well, you're gonna get run over. Will, what do you reckon about this? The whole, like, again, I'm not a horror guy, so is that why I feel okay with them dying? Is because they make poor choices? Is that the whole genre?
I think that's part of it. Is like, it's supposed to be like the people the audience doesn't like, or doesn't like typically, are the ones making these dumb decisions. So there's a bit of catharsis in that. But there's also just the idea of, well, if they made smart decisions, they wouldn't be in a horror movie.
Right.
They would be in a different movie,
But not to jump ahead, but that's why Cabin in the Woods is so good at subverting that and taking that.
Yeah, explaining why are these people so dumb? Like, why are they going into like the haunted or evil tunnel? Like, why are they doing these things that are so stupid? But I think part of it, especially when a movie is this low budget, is like, well, we need the story to happen, so they go into the creepy house, because otherwise we're not making a horror movie. We're making a road trip documentary.
See, what was interesting now I think about it is that, the way that Cabin in the Woods especially plays with the idea of the final girl, the virgin, the whore, the jock, the everything, right? Is that when you watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre, honestly, the only difference, they're all basically the same character. They're just a bunch of friends. You know what I mean? There's no real, like I said, I wrote, I do my notes and things so I can keep track of what we're talking about, but you've got Sally, Franklin, and then I go the other three who die.
Yeah. It wasn't until like a Friday the 13th where they all had kind of a character build. So
you're this, you're this. Whereas
you go from this to Halloween.
You're all horny.
Yeah. Yeah, and Halloween, you get a little bit more defined characters. Then you get the Friday the 13th, where they don't have personalities, but they do have like titles, like Popular Girl and stuff like that. Like everyone's kind of also like kind of flat. But then you get to eventually Nightmare on Elm Street, where it really, really defines this guy's the bad boy, this guy's the boyfriend, you know, she's this.
Yeah.
So you start to see like this is where it begins. There's no real differentiating any of the characters. One is wheelchair,
Yeah.
and you know, one is girl.
Yeah.
And to eventually you get to Scream, where they're like, this is the formula. And you see like where it's been building for like 20 years.
The second you see him in the wheelchair, you're like, this is not going to be good.
Yeah, and it's got that
great.
weird opening scene of him needing to pee, and then the truck goes by and kind of like pushes him down.
Just hands him an empty coffee can.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't quite understand like how. Maybe I missed it because I was watching this on Freevee with commercials. So right as that was happening, a commercial break happens, and then it cut back, and I was like, wait, how did he? Oh well, whatever. I'm not rewinding it. I'm trying to get through this movie.
This movie looks like a snuff film, and for the better part of it, it is, and it just it's that feeling of uneasiness, and like these insert shots of like when they go to the house, there's an insert shot of just like this daddy long legs nest, and it's just this
all the spiders, making that weird sound.
It's so gross. Like
Well, Tobe Hooper, he comes from documentaries. Like that's like his background is documentary filmmaking.
Nice.
And you really, really see it on display here.
Yeah. So you're saying this movie is a documentary about Texas?
It's basically a documentary. I mean, the behind the scenes of this movie is everybody hated Tobe Hooper by the end of it because it's like they're using real chicken bones. They're using like, you know, real animal carcasses.
Real
and stuff.
chainsaws.
It smelled horribly.
It did look like a real chainsaw, and it's like, you know, it was kind of creepy. And I think also, it's like, it's very Texas because, you know, you guys were joking. It's like, oh, this is what Texas is like. And I go, well, the heat shimmer is real. You know, you could tell it was hot. You can tell it was definitely Texas. It looks like Texas.
The only thing that could have made it more Texas is at the Leatherface house, if they were just making some sun tea, you know, outside on the patio.
I did like that, you know, there's no why. You know, what I like about it is they don't explain, but you get little hints of like when the first guy, the first dead guy,
doesn't matter,
goes investigating, and he sort of peeks under, and they have that kind of camouflage thing, and you see all these vehicles and it's like Volkswagens, like the VW Beetles and stuff, and you realize that, oh, they've done this a lot. You know, they find hippies. You know, it's the 70s. They find these flower children. They find these people who are just like, I guess it's okay to walk into somebody's house or whatever, who are looking for gas, and they kill them. And then, like I said, I didn't see it coming. Again, I'm not a horror guy, you know, but it's the whole that moment as I'm making the videos of realizing that, oh, she's going to be okay, because later on she gets back to the gas station, and the guy's like, oh, we don't have a phone. So I'm like, oh, this guy's going to die. And then the penny drops as she's looking into the, you know, where they're smoking the meat. And I'm like, oh no. Because that was what I really liked about this movie, is it surprised me that how quickly the first 3-4 people died. So the first 3 guys, they just die.
Yeah, almost immediately, like one after another.
Then suddenly, and it's like with no like fanfare or anything, they just all do the same mistake. They just walk in and he goes, bonk, you're dead. So then suddenly it's dark, and you've got the brother, sister, Franklin and Sally, decide to go looking for them in the dark. Terrible idea. And then like in the dark across the countryside with a wheelchair in the 70s. Terrible idea. But it's like, it's just, where was I even going with this point in this movie? Oh, is that I thought the movie was about to end. Because then Franklin dies, Sally's running, Leatherface is chasing it, and I go, oh, well, crap, I guess, is the movie going to end already? This has been moving really quickly, but it's that extra, really, really fucked up 20 minutes at the end, where you almost feel like she's safe, suddenly she's in way more danger, suddenly it's not just Leatherface, it's a whole family, it's the dad, it's the hitchhiker turns up, the other son, Leatherface is it, and it's Grandpa, who's not dead, the weird
Grandpa who looks like, if you're old enough to remember, the old man dancing for the Six Flags commercials.
Yes. Yeah.
It's the only way I can describe it. It's the funniest, most ridiculous prosthetic full head mask.
Yeah, that sounds like a very American reference that I do not get, but I'm sure many people
we'll
are getting it.
We'll send it to you after. And
Yeah, everybody go look up the old Six Flags commercials.
Yeah. Okay,
Like
I'm gonna
you'll
see,
be like, oh,
I'm going to try and Google this. Old man
set to the Venga Boys. If
Six
I remember
Flags.
correctly.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
It's auto completed with old man Six Flags commercials. We like to
It's
party.
somehow more
Venga Boys.
horrifying than all of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Wow!
Yeah, that guy moving at like full speed is terrifying.
Okay, so to back up, Ryan, excellent reference.
Yeah,
like,
seeing that guy move in those super like fast dance.
He's wearing
moves
it's the same character. He's wearing the suit. He's got the. It's
Holy
just
shit.
it's
if you are like me and unaware of this commercial, pause this podcast or this YouTube video right now and do what I did and Google Old Man 6, and it's going to go Flags commercial Venga Boys. But yeah, that is exactly what the grandpa looks like. Wow. Good.
Technically a sequel to this movie.
Yeah. It could be the same actor. We don't know.
But that's all I can think of. Like, so you get to the part where she's back at the gas station after being chased by Leatherface, and she runs. It's funny to me. The scene is, I know it's supposed to be so terrifying, but there's part of me that's just where she's running through like pretty thin twigs, and Leatherface just gets stopped, even though he's holding this giant chainsaw. So she makes it to the gas station, which had to have been like several miles. Like,
that was
I was
way
confused
closer
by that
than I thought. Yeah,
everything, much like Swamp Thing, everything's just kind of right there.
Yeah,
because it's a movie, guys. It's a movie.
She ran a marathon. This is Texas, man. That gas station is 12 miles away.
And she's running through the bush, and it's dark, but you can still see like the moonlight, and it's still shot so well for being pitch black. It's great.
Yes,
and then
it uses it very well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And
then she gets to the gas station. She realizes the old man there isn't what he appears to be, and she picks up the knife, and the guy gingerly like taps it out of her hand with a broom.
With a
The
broom
fight. He
and
just
then
goes,
just sweeps her. He just continuously sweeps her. I was like, dude, what the?
I'm like, huh. Okay. Yeah.
Because Cabin in the Woods does that so well when they had that little electric shock that makes her drop the knife, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, it's that ridiculous. I'm like, he disarms her.
I'm so glad we did these two movies together, because I think it's the perfect compliment.
Like I said, guys, we did a blinder for this episode. The 3 movies we picked, blinding, brilliant choices. But yeah, like that one, I was cracking up. But also the casting of that family, the hitchhiker, the dad, and again, you've got Leatherface and Grandpa, but at the same time, it's like you don't really see their faces. But that hitchhiker, I think, underrated actor.
And you have to think too, like you said, when they discover all the cars, like how many people have picked this guy up? This guy sucks.
Right.
Like he's not charming. It'd be different if he was, charming to coax these young teens back to this house, because what sets this whole thing off is he's like, hey, I just drop me off at my house, drop me off. Like that's his whole MO. And when they're like, no, why don't you get the fuck out right now, you crazy son of a bitch? That's when he flips out and starts screaming and rubs his own blood on marks their van. But like he's done this a number of times.
Well, you say that, but the plan doesn't go off, but it still goes off because they throw him out of the van because he's obviously a psycho, but they still stop at the gas station. Which
is 10 feet away from the house.
It's all just coinky dink.
Yeah. Well, they do say, they're like, we should have stopped at any other gas station.
Yeah, at any point instead. But yeah, let's get into that last 20 minutes. Because so again, if you haven't seen the movie, it's classic horror. They're all getting picked off. But the twist is she gets back to the gas station. Turns out that that's the dad of the family. And you have this creepy dinner. It's like she's tied up at dinner. You've got Leatherface, who's the older brother by the looks of it. You've got Hitchhiker. You've got the finger suck. Let's get into the finger suck.
I had one thing when the dad gets back home, he is furious that Leatherface has cut through their front door.
Yeah.
Could you imagine what he would do if Leatherface touched the thermostat? That's the first thing that went in my mind. I'm like, oh, you don't touch the thermostat.
It's so bizarre. I mean, like, so it's one of the most. I mean, the last 20 minutes, I'm not joking, is just Sally screaming. She's running away. I was like, honestly, she could probably run quicker if she's not screaming. Conserve that oxygen. But no, scream, screamity, scream. That must have been her casting, was just her screaming. But then we end up with this freaking crazy family dinner. And then it's kind of like, let's get Grandpa to do what he does best. and kill her with one hammer blow, and she's kind of like bent over. But it's that bit where
fumbling
I
the hammer.
thought Grandpa was dead, but they cut her finger. And then they just force it into Grandpa's mouth. And it's very reminiscent of, which we will get to, the breastfeeding scene from Barbarian, of just Grandpa sucking on this girl's finger as she's terrified. And it's in this documentary style. It feels so visceral. And you've got the rest of the family just kind of like
cackling. Yeah.
And I'm just watching it through my fingers going, what is happening?
A real finger cut, by the way. That was not fake.
What?
Yeah, they actually cut the actor. I don't think it was the lead actor, the actor in that scene. I think it was somebody else, but that was a real finger cut in that scene.
This movie cost
that's how low budget this was.
This movie cost $12.
Yeah, it's estimated to be between $80,000 to $100,000, but it went on to make $30 million, which is
in the 70s is crazy.
Incredible.
Yeah, most profitable independent film for years.
Yeah,
I mean, like, just even looking at it, equivalent to roughly 150 million as about like now, selling over 16.5 million tickets in 74. I mean, just to give an understanding of how like just defining this movie was, that it, and creation of a genre. But can you imagine being in the 70s and watching this movie?
That's what I was saying before. And you think that how do you even market a movie like this is like...
You don't. You just call it the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like Bill's saying.
It's just you imagine opening up the newspaper and seeing like just Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And you're like, well, I got to see this.
Yeah, it's kind of like Star Wars. It does exactly what it says in the tin.
Yeah, I mean, basically the marketing for this movie was that everybody tried to ban it. Everybody was like, we don't want this show.
Was this like the first rated X kind of?
It was very, very nearly rated X, and they cut it down a little bit to get that R rating. But that's why everyone went to go see it. Is like, oh, I'm not supposed to see this. Yeah, and it was brilliant.
Yeah,
people have been reaching out to me. Is that what's interesting? Is the farmhouse used in the movie? They moved it, and it's now a restaurant. I'm gonna have to go for that Englishman in Texas. I could literally drive and go and eat in this bloody house. The literal house. They moved it, put it there, and now it's a restaurant. So we got to go.
I'm sorry if they're selling sausage. I'm gonna question where that's coming from.
Yeah, don't order the fucking barbecue.
It's the one place I'll just order straight from the vegan menu.
You go in there, but if you go in there and they've got like a Guy Fieri thing on the wall, I'd be a little sketchy.
Well, that's okay. Yeah, if he approves,
Guy
it's
Fieri.
fine.
Guy Fieri.
But yeah, no, you're right. It was originally rated X. They cut a few minutes to get it R. But the thing is, it's like in Canada, local police were trying to withdraw it because morality charges. There's no better marketing. It's I think the definition of there's no such thing as bad press. Yeah. As soon as don't see it, you want to see it. It's the exact premise of like, the South Park movie with the Terrence and Phillip. The more you try to protest something, the more people are like, well, I guess I have to see this, because if they're telling me not to see it, it must be.
I remember seeing on like a list, I think I remember hearing about Cannibal Holocaust, right?
Yes, Cannibal Holocaust. I was just thinking about it yesterday.
I remember going to purchase it, and it was I bought it at like Virgin Megastore at Arizona Mills 100 years ago. And I remember going to purchase it, and like I couldn't think of a more. I think I bought that and Ricky O back to back.
Oh, Ricky O. Too bad Ricky O doesn't take place in the U.S.
We can.
We'll figure out a special episode to get that going.
It's in a prison. Yes. It's close enough.
We'll put it with Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
But like going to purchase that movie was like locked behind a case, and a manager had to go get it, and now I'm on some government watch list.
Yeah, Cannibal Holocaust had that great reputation of it being, it was real.
Yeah,
it's like
most of it was
in the same way that they did with Blair Witch. The great marketing of it. This is just found footage, and they just go. It's almost like you don't do the marketing. You just start a whisper, and the whispers go crazy. It's so weird you say that, because I was thinking Cannibal Holocaust yesterday, because it's like. It's that movie we've all heard about that is so messed up, but it's because people said, "Oh no, they didn't fake it. They just actually killed people." You're like,
I still own that movie on DVD, and it is horrible.
I've never seen it. Never will.
No, it's the things they do in that movie.
Not worth a watch.
We're not here to talk about that movie, but thank God, because oh boy.
Yeah.
So you're the one that owned it, you sicko. You paid money for that shit.
Will's got this beautiful collection of Blu-rays and DVDs, and like that's the only DVD I own.
Yeah. You're basically the movie 8mm.
Yeah.
No.
which I saw in theaters. Oh, what's
boy.
wrong
Ooh,
with
That movie is hilarious.
knee
Joaquin
slapper.
Phoenix, baby, with a pierced eyebrow.
Oh man.
So yeah, no. Let's just Will tell me your whole perspective on that last 20 minutes. I think it's a fantastic bit of filmmaking.
Oh,
What do you think?
yeah, it's so visceral, and that's one of the parts of the movie. Like Ryan and I, we were talking about this beforehand. I don't really get scared in movies, but I do get uneasy, and I do like want things to end. And
That's called
this
being
is almost
scared, Will.
no, but because it doesn't like
Yeah.
like I go on with my day. It doesn't like affect me in that way.
I'm not
But
losing sleep over it. It's just a movie.
yeah, but it comes close, almost as close as like the end, the end of like Bone Tomahawk of like,
Ooh,
nope,
yeah.
I don't
Now we're
want to watch
talking.
this.
I haven't seen
Bone
that. I've just
Tomahawk.
heard. I've heard.
That movie, I get to the scene, and people who've seen the movie know the scene I'm talking about. I got to that and I turned the movie off, and I still have never finished it because I refuse.
That scene
I
is
refuse
very
to watch it.
that scene is very divisive.
What? I don't even
How
know
dare
what
you.
the scene is. I just know a
Doesn't
scene
matter.
exists. I
Doesn't matter.
love, Kurt Russell.
Audiences
I
are
love
split on it.
It's a
Western.
good movie. It's a good movie. It's
not
a
watching.
good. It's great. It's like a woman's abducted, and these guys put together a team, baby.
It's your favorite
and they
thing.
fucking love it. And then they go and try and find her, and she's kidnapped by cannibals, and it's
Yeah.
Kurt Russell with the most amazing mustache. It's
I'm
literally
trying, as you
His
can see,
mustache
I'm
is
trying
incredible.
to
Yeah.
get that mustache.
I like,
going.
it's looking great. Looking great.
Yeah, thank you very much. Texas
But
is
yeah,
Yeah.
that's like it's that level. That dinner scene is like that level visceral where I'm like, I just want this to end. There's nothing pleasant about
It's not
this.
scary. It's just
and
uncomfortable.
it keeps going. It's like that's the
Yeah.
thing. Is like they do the 90-minute movie in sort of 70 minutes and then just slap on this extra 20.
And that whole and it's so clumsy. Like they have her bent over the basin,
Yeah.
and they keep trying to put the hammer in Grandpa's hands, and he's obviously very
Dropping
fucking
it.
old. And then but then he get one hit off.
Yeah,
and,
she gets
oh
a
my
couple
God.
of hits, right? And then I do like though Sally. I'm going to give her credit. Is she gets my award, the Jean-Claude Van Damme Jackie Chan award for excellent jumping through window technique. She does it
times.
twice. Yeah,
Yeah.
twice. And I'm like, that's, you know what? That's why I'm like, I got respect for Sally as a character in horror movies because she's like, fuck this, I'm out. And she jumps through windows, even on the second floor. And I'm like, girl, you deserve it. Yes, girl, go.
Yeah.
And then
by that second window, she's like, well, at least it's not on the second floor.
Yeah. But then you get that extra little 5 minutes at the end. And that's, I think this movie's, we've talked about before, we live in a world where, honestly, in a couple of weeks, we're doing Oklahoma because the 3.5-hour version of, Scorsese's movie is coming out. But it's like, let's just also appreciate the efficiency of a well-made movie.
Yeah.
That it gives us 70 minutes of this, like 15, 20 minutes of that. And then you get that last 5 minutes of, she jumps out the window, you realize it's day, she runs out, you get the truck guy turn up, but that's not, they didn't draw it out. I mean, whatever happened to that trucker? I mean, he's probably a dead man.
Oh, he's fucked.
But then we get the random faceless guy in a pickup truck that picks up Sally. But it's that last 5 minutes where she's running, crazy hitchhiker's just fucking with her until he gets run over, Leatherface.
Hilarious, by the way.
With his chainsaw. But I mean, it just,
and then credits. That's it. It's
and
just
then
smash
boom,
cut to credits.
Movie's over.
Written and directed by. They all do that, actually. All three of these movies have great, and the credits roll moments.
And I still think, like I said this in a previous episode, every movie should end on a freeze frame with the character to say what they're up to now. Every movie.
I agree.
Well, I mean, with
it's not hard.
Leatherface.
with Leatherface, with Leatherface, you can't, you would never be able to do that because
He probably has a podcast now.
about home invasions.
Yeah.
I will
He already got the restaurant.
I will say, again, I do say it on this podcast a lot, and that's why I enjoy doing this. I mean, even if honestly no one listened to it or watched it, I don't care. I love talking movies with you guys, and I love the fact that I'm forced to, in times, watch movies that I've never thought of or never wanted to watch, and they're all important. I love movies, and this movie it's definitely a great little thing to tick off on my box, and it's something that I can talk about, and it's just the ripple effect of what that movie had in the world, in movies, in the universe, in genre, in everything is, you can't deny it. It really is special. But also, Toby Hooper, you're a freak.
And Ollie, you and I both shared a moment because we watched this on Peacock, and immediately after Texas Chainsaw Massacre ends, it rolls right into Terrifier 1. And for a moment, I was like, I'm gonna do it. But Ollie, not only he unplugged his Ethernet, ripped his TV off the wall, and took a bath.
Okay, but honestly, no joke. I mean, like,
you're so fucking lucky I didn't pick that movie.
Ryan has been trying to make us watch. Just FYI at home on the text thread, Ryan has been like, we've got another text thread with our other friends from right this minute and from Arizona. Ryan is trying to make us watch Terrifier and Terrifier 2, and we're all just like, no, you weirdo. We're not doing it.
Fucking pussies.
Yes.
Fucking pussies.
The thing is, that's what I said in my video. I am 75% pussy. That is why I do not watch these.
For sure, like we were joking, I thought you were going to pick like Hocus Pocus or Halloween Town or some other scary movie on Disney Plus.
Yeah, batteries not
the Nightmare on Elm Street, the Nightmare Before Christmas. Just kidding. I love that movie.
Okay, well, look, honestly, you know, we could probably talk about this movie for the entire podcast, but let's.
Real quick, sorry, because I want to talk about the sequels to this movie.
Yes, please.
Because this is like the most, like Halloween. The Halloween franchise is pretty messed up for all the reboots and the sequels to that. So in the chronology of the sequels to this movie, you've got Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, which is kind of a comedy. It's not even really like
Evil Dead 2 comedy, like that kind
right, like that kind of same director. It's Toby
I was about to say Toby Hooper did that one, right?
But they made it with Canon Films, which the best. Then you got Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. Oh, the second one came out I think 12 years after the first one.
Wow.
So huge time difference. And then 1990, you've got Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, which ignores 2 and is a sequel to the first one. Then you've got The Next Generation, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 95, which ignores 2 and 3 and is a sequel to the first one. Then
which I like. That movie's got a special place in my heart. Like I don't know what it is. I like that.
Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger.
As we've talked about as well, all of Ryan's movie introductions came with the sequels.
Yeah, never the first one. And then in 2003, you've got The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Michael Bay produced one, which I've not seen.
Is that Jessica Biel in that one?
Jessica Biel's in that one. Arlie Emery is in that one as well as the sheriff.
Hell yeah.
Then you've got Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning, the prequel to the reboot. Then you've got Texas Chainsaw, which is I think another reboot. Then you've got Leatherface, which is a prequel to the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And then you've got Texas Chainsaw Massacre that came out for Netflix, which is a sequel to the original,
which wasn't terrible, but setting it in having it in a modern setting where
maybe you saw a different movie than I did. That was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life, and embarrassment for everybody.
Yeah, no. In retrospect, it was pretty. But it was on Netflix, so I'm gonna watch it.
It is very much a Netflix movie.
The algorithm spoke to me.
In that it is very expensive and very bad. It's the perfect Netflix film.
Not.
That's the movie they make.
The only thing I guess I liked is because it's the what if you had a current Leatherface, but everyone still has cell phones but they're set in this small town that they're trying to re-gentrify, and of course their cell phones stop working, and it's just...
it would be because honestly, mate, I tell you right now, I can tell you exactly where the dead zones in where I live are. One of them is my house. The only way I can have phone calls is I had to turn on I have to do phone calls through Wi-Fi. If my Wi-Fi goes down, there's no phone reception where I live.
Oh man, you want to get leather-faced? That's how you get leather-faced.
That's how you get bloody leather-faced. I shouldn't have said that on a public podcast, should I? So let's bounce forward.
Other notable names for that character was Velvet Face, Velour Face, and Suede Face, but they landed on Leatherface because PETA was coming after them. Like, you gotta get leather into this somehow, because Big Leather was a huge part of this movie.
True story.
Fun fact.
True story.
Everyone just turned off this podcast.
Let's quickly bounce forward to what all the pizza supporters did anyway. 2011, The Cabin in the Woods, written and directed by Drew Goddard, along with Joss Whedon. He also co-wrote, but Drew Goddard wrote Cloverfield, World War Z, The Martian, one of my favorite movies ever. Yeah. He wrote and directed Bad Times at the El Royale, which is actually a great movie that I don't think gets enough credit. I mean, I see what I mean, because people are kind of like, it's a Tarantino ripoff, but I'm like, no, that is a proper good movie that people should talk about more. And we actually, because it happens in 2 states, we need to figure that out. Maybe we can.
It's right on the border, right? Of
Nevada and California. I can't remember. But yeah, Cabin in the Woods with we got Bradley Whitford, Richard Jenkins. Oh, just like
MVPs, just the best.
Like I said like I said, one of the best cold open title card reveals
ever. And then
to a point where you because I think remember hearing about people thinking they were in the wrong movie. Like, what am I watching? And then smashed.
It's brilliant. But also Chris Hemsworth, Kristen Connolly, Anna Hutchinson, Jesse Williams, Fran Kwanz. He's my favorite character.
The best.
Yeah, as the Stoner. This movie, honestly, you could write a book about it. Like, it's brilliant. So this is the one I chose because it is the most horror, least horror, most meta movie that exists. And I remember I avoided it for years because I just don't like horror movies. And so, flashback 10 years, my missus and I have just moved back to America. We're at the time staying with my father-in-law across town. And we were in the back room and I said, Zen, I've been hearing about this movie. Let's put Cabin in the Woods on. And we were having such a good time and making so much noise that my father-in-law came to the back of the house going, what are you guys doing? What are you watching? What is going on? And we're like, this movie is just bonkers fun. Like, it is so smart. To very quickly, if you haven't seen the movie, it explains all horror movies by saying that essentially there are these massive gods that have existed before humanity, and what they want is human sacrifice through the medium of what horror movies are. And it's not just in America. There are Japanese horror movies happening. There are German. It's a global. It's the deep state. The deep state is essentially manufacturing human sacrifices for the audience being the gods. And so the gods are the stand-in for us, and all of the cliches are important. You've got to deliver it, otherwise they're not happy. And I'm like, guys, I don't know, Drew Goddard in some mushroom trip, while just goes, guys, I've got this idea, because it's fucking brilliant.
It's crazy, and pulls it off expertly.
Oh, it's just a home run of a movie.
I kind of sour on things that are like too meta for their own good, but this just nails it. It
works. Had Whedon been writing it like totally on his own, I think it would have been much more meta. But Drew Goddard is just a really, really good writer in his own right. I mean, Bad Times at the El Royale was my favorite movie that year it came out, and I think it really showcases what a smart writer and director he is. I don't want to bash Whedon too much, because I do think the dude is actually, like, say what you will about him personally, and I have online.
Yeah, we can bash him personally.
So I definitely do that. But the one thing I won't take away from him is he's actually really, really good at writing and telling a story. And I think they crafted a perfect meta commentary on horror movies. It actually, I mentioned a few times in the text thread that I wanted to do funny games, but it's Austrian, so I can't do it. And it's very, very similar themes on a much, much, much lower budget of indicting the audience for, like, this is what you want. You want these people to suffer. And this is like the mega blockbuster end of that.
And it's just a pastiche on like you were saying before, Ollie, it's like manufactured suffering. Like, why do you go to these movies? Is to watch bad things happen to not to bad people, but to these characters. And it's like
people every movie bad choices.
Yeah, every movie has tried to, like, the reason people go to these is like why are you going to go see Saw fucking 10 is because you want to see how crazy and elaborate these deaths get. Why are you going to go see Final Destination, whichever one they're on? It's the same thing. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. For me, I'm like, I'd rather just watch a compilation of it happen on YouTube. And I still have my Many Faces of Death VHS. I'm good.
Oh God. One thing I really, really love about this movie is the way they establish our main characters, the victims, is like they're not the cliches in the beginning. Like you think that's what they're going to be, but very clearly it's like, no, these are full 3-dimensional characters. Yeah. And the point is forcing them into these cliches against their will. And they're
calling it out as well.
Yeah.
Like, especially because the stoner, the best part about, and like, you know, and it even comes up in the movie that they've dosed his weed to fuck him up, but he's such a stoner that he's nuclear. But it's like, he's like, why is he being like this jock? He's got a full ride scholarship. He's a really smart guy, which is established in the opening scene. He goes, don't read that. You should read this.
Yeah.
You know, he's almost like Good Will Hunting kind of thing.
You should put some pants on.
The fact that the girlfriend has got hair dye, but then it gets established that it's been treated by the chem department to make her like dumber, to make her hornier, you know, and it's just, it's so freaking clever and
same.
Yeah.
The one thing that threw me, the bit where she has that moment with the wolf was just so fucking uncomfortable. It makes no sense.
She makes out with the wolf. I mean, sorry, you mean the moose?
No, it was a wolf.
No, that's the plot in the movie. He calls it a moose, and everyone's like, "Dude, you've never seen a you never seen a moose before? It's a fucking wolf, bro." So real, like, again, I kind of broke it down, but like essentially, the deep state. There's this whole thing that there's an underground, quite literal, like massive military structure, almost kind of like NORAD, which is filled with just everyday peons whose job is to every, I don't know, year create this moment.
I was gonna say, is it every year they have to do that? Because
you've got to sort of sacrifice, and as long as one of them succeeds in the whole world, the massive gods that live under our planet don't come and destroy the world. But my favorite scene, I mean, it's so subversive, it's brilliant, is that they've got every kind of horror movie exists in this basement.
Yeah.
And so you get the people that work there are having a betting pool as to what's going to happen. Oh, is it going to be this? Is it going to be a merman? Is it going to be the zombies? It's like, it's so funny, and everyone's kind of got this gallows humor about it.
Yeah.
But my other favorite part is when they do go into the basement, that you're wondering which one it's going to be. Like, which one? They're all sucked in. Like, I'm going to put on this necklace. I'm going to solve this puzzle. I'm going to open this book. And it's just like, and then it cuts back to everyone going, oh, damn it, I lost my money.
That whiteboard with like all the possibilities is so
cool.
funny.
I
paused it so many times to see if I can't pick out every single thing it said. And it's hilarious.
Much like later in the movie when they go down in the lift and like, it kind of it pulls back
the cubes,
and you start seeing, and I'm like, I was like, I almost want to do what you're saying, Will, is pause it and sort of get close and go.
It's like, there's the xenomorph. I think they have like, it's the girl from the ring. It's literally everything. Yeah, but it's like their version of everything. So you have instead of
it's the public domain version of everything.
Which is great. Which I absolutely love. I love that.
Great.
It's just on the nose enough to not make it like
it's oh my god, like I said, I each of these movies I feel like we could do a whole episode on, but like I was talking about the cliche of the creepy gas station. So they have the creepy gas station, but like with Mordecai, and it's my favorite like little scene in the movie where like what's he called?
He's on the phone.
He has a term, which is like, he's the what do they call him?
I just watched it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's the sayer or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you know, he sends them on their way, but he calls the office, and Bradley Whitford has him on speakerphone, and he's like, you see him, and it's all creepy. He's like, the lambs have come to the slaughter, and they do not see what they. And then he comes back, and everyone's cracking up. And then he goes, "Wait,
am I on
you have me on speakerphone?"
God, I love it. Another, just to not to jump around, but the way you discovered this movie, it's the same way I had discovered was it Tucker and Dale versus
I was about to say Tucker and Dale.
I'd scrolled through this. I'm like, just the cover of it. It looks so, I don't know what inspired. Maybe I was watching some YouTube compilation based on Cabin in the Woods that suggested this. I'm like, that's another movie that really does a great job of taking this type of genre and completely flipping it in such a fun way.
We all, honestly, if we didn't do Cabin in the Woods, it would have been Tucker and Dale.
Yeah.
Tucker and Dale versus Evil is the full title if you haven't seen it. And as you guys know, I don't watch trailers, but I will watch trailers for horror movies because I'm like, well, I'm never going to watch that. But honestly, that's what made me watch Tucker and Dale versus Evil. It was just, I watched that trailer and I go, this might be the movie for me.
It was the guy jumping headfirst into the wood.
Into the chipper. Yeah, exactly. I go, and it's just their reactions are like, they're just such nice guys.
It's great. It's great. Because I love that whole gas station. That whole gas station attendant trope is it's like in every horror movie. And in that, they built an entire film. Like, what do these guys do outside of that gas station?
It's brilliant. Right. And it's like, and it's all about like, it's almost the history of horror movies makes these people think they're in a horror movie. Yeah. Whereas Tucker and Dale are just like these nice.
They're just two guys.
They're just two guys going to build their vacation home.
Honestly, I might watch that now. And again, that's a
fun
great movie. But like Cabin in the Woods, it gives you it doesn't, in the way that I was saying is like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre doesn't give you, it fills it in. You kind of watch it and it almost doesn't explain stuff. Is that Cabin in the Woods gives you the game almost immediately. And like even the same way when they drive through the tunnel and then you see the eagle just go into the dome, and you realize, oh wow. So we are the ones, it's instead of us figuring it out, we are in the know and we're kind of watching the characters sort of figuring it out and being manipulated. Like the little bits like when Chris Hemsworth and his girlfriend, they've been dosed up with the horniness, so they go out to have sex in outside
in the swamp.
And it's like, it's too cold. So they're like, do you have temperature control? And they put it up to 75, and then they find the mossy area, and then they dive up the moon.
Everyone's crowded around them too, just watching. Like,
yeah, and that's right. And so then all of like, it's so funny that it cuts back to the office, and all the male staff are there waiting for her to take her top off.
I know Will will fight me on this, but and this movie is perfect. They should never make another one or a sequel or a prequel or a TV show or whatever. But I just want more of this office environment, this world. Like, give me like The Office, but set in this universe with the monsters.
The Office TV show of just these guys existing.
Yeah, I want their day-to-day, like a Brooklyn Nine-Nine style, single camera. I want give me their daily musings. I love this world they built so much.
But you do get that though. I mean, that's what's so funny is you've got the two movies happening, is that you have The Office and then you have the people in the middle of this horror movie. But it's, it's all just being manipulated. It's brilliantly done. The little things like, they make all the right decisions. We should stick together. And they go, we'll take care of this. They press the button.
The pheromone button.
The pheromone, the thing comes out and goes, we should split up. And
he's like, this isn't right. This isn't right. And they're always like,
cool. This makes sense. What?
Oh man, it's great. It's so great.
No, it doesn't.
This movie does nothing you haven't seen 1,000 times in every other horror movie, but it does it the best way possible.
Yeah,
it just shines this.
Well, it calls out what's been done.
Yeah,
and that's what's like amazing about it.
It's so fun, and I remember the way that the stoner dies, or at least doesn't die, but he goes second, and it's so brilliant as well as you're rooting for these characters, much in the same way. When Bradley Whitford is having that introspective moment, he goes, I don't know what is about her. I'm rooting for her. I kind of wanted to. Tequila's my lady, and he just in that moment where you realize you're rooting for this person that may even just destroy the world, he gets distracted by the guys turning up for tequila time. I honestly, Bradley Whitford he's a god to me. I love him from West Wing, but everything he's in, he's so good. But this fit Bradley Whitford to a T.
The two of them together, fantastic.
Yeah, Rich Dingus and him.
They're fantastic chemistry, and they
gold.
Yeah, and while I don't want like a prequel or a sequel to this movie, I do want to see like a million movies with those actors, like playing office co-workers. Like just keep giving me that, and I'll be happy.
And it is a movie that it sets its tone immediately.
Yeah.
You know, like that opening scene of just them in the office, like tricking people into thinking they're watching the wrong movie. And he goes, "You're not even listening to me, are you?" Cabin in the Woods. And you're like, okay, this movie is, I'm interested. You hooked me in the first 5 minutes. And I think it's just a picture perfect piece of filmmaking. And then just the way that it goes, that she's there in the background while they're all joking around and celebrating and drinking that they've saved the world and they've done a good job. And in the background, you just see her getting thrown around by this giant zombie. But then you get the twist on the twist on the twist being the stone is still alive, and that brilliant shot of him with his bong. I want that bong so bad.
Oh my god! It's maybe the coolest prop. It's maybe the coolest prop ever in a movie. I think.
I told you guys when I was in the theater and like that moment happened where he folded it up and it's just like the coffee mug.
A coffee mug.
So, like multiple people in the audience went, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
All the stoned people were like,
"Yeah." You just immediately. That's when the SWAT team came in and they were like, "We were waiting."
I'm gonna start selling those on Etsy. I bet it already exists.
Well, I sent you guys those pictures. So as soon as I got done with the movie, I like to watch trailers after, because I still appreciate the art of making a trailer.
True.
But I realized in that scene that when they're in the van on the way, he's rolling a joint, but there's 20 rolled joints in front of him and a huge pile of weed. But in the trailer, they've digitally altered it to just be an empty table. And I was like, why?
Yeah, this movie, for those of you who are too young to remember, this movie came out before weed was legal, like everywhere. So that was bad to put. You could have everyone getting slaughtered in a trailer.
Right.
Don't you dare show any weed. That's just, what will the kids do? Like, you'll have, think of the children.
I mean, and they even reference that on the same lines of the violence, but also the sex, is that they need her to take her top off, and they go score. But it's also like tick. The audience has now seen some boobs. The gods have seen boobs, so we're good. And then you also get that little moment that when she dies, you have Richard Jenkins that has that almost that mantra. He kind of kisses a thing and is like, the sacrifice that has been made and as it shall be sort of thing. There's so much lore to this movie. It's brilliant. It's
jam packed with it, but it doesn't like spoon feed it to you. It lets you uncover it through watching it. It doesn't. There's no opening crawl. It's not like
just the pure entertainment of. So once the twist happens that the stone is still alive, and he's discovered like that there's a lift, there's an elevator, and they go into the facility, and that moment of when they just. It's great. It's just the big red button. Why would you even have the big red button? But who cares? Hit the big red button, purge the system, and they unleash all horror upon these people that have unleashed horror upon people. And it's just that really fun little. You're spotting things in the background of, here's the creepy people with the masks that just like torture people.
The strangers.
Here's a giant snake, and here's the murder bot. With that great sound effect.
That was my favorite.
Is that from Chopping Mall? That's got to be from Chopping Mall, right?
Very Chopping Mall inspired.
Yeah.
I have to see this movie, by the way. You keep talking about it.
Oh my god!
It sounds
no kidding. It's so good.
But,
one of the best head explosions in movie history.
We've talked about Ricky O on this podcast just this week. That has excellent.
This is right up there. Yeah. It's awesome.
And then there's still more to this movie. Sigourney Weaver shows up.
Of course.
Sigourney Weaver shows up as the director for the last Queen. 5 minutes. And what a great ending as well, that you almost think it's going to be the main character, the final girl, is going to kill the stoner. And then she gets attacked by the werewolf. But I just love the ending is that she's kind of dying, he's kind of stoned, and he goes, is this worth letting exist? And they just let the world end.
Yeah.
And giant hand comes out, smashes down, credits.
Nine Inch Nails
another one just goes credits.
9 Inch Nails blasts over the credits, and I have a big, huge fucking smile on my face every time.
I was pretty convinced you were about to say erection, but
I mean that too. Yeah. I have one right now.
Legally, for standards and practices, the camera has to be that high.
You might be able to hear it.
That's what that thumping sound is. but no joke, guys. I recommend this movie to everybody.
I watch it every year.
It's
not like
so
I don't like.
good.
There's only there's a short list of movies I make sure I watch every like Halloween season. I do the same thing with like Christmas, Thanksgiving, whatever. But it's and this is always at the front of that list. Always, just because it sets the tone. It's such an easy watch. It doesn't age at all because there's really like no like they don't use technology in the movie. They're not using like cell phones and stuff like that. There's no social media references because it was all before that. But I think the only piece of technology used is his telescopic bong coffee mug.
Well, it's also because they are in the woods. It doesn't work because they even have that thing. There's no global positioning. So, and I love that you brought that out because I didn't even think about that because it is now a timeless movie because of that very thing. Everybody can enjoy it. And what I also love is that while ruining all horror movies, it's not denigrating. It's not making fun. It's not saying it's wrong. It's all done with no, this is great, but this is why. They give you a why for horror instead of it like it's not a scary movie. What I mean is like the past, I love scary. Yeah. Scary movie is the one of all like, it's like the Naked Gun of horror movies. It's one of my favorite jokes of they pull it off great. My favorite line, we're reporting that for black TV. White people are dead. We're getting the fuck out of here. I saw that the first time and I laughed for 20 minutes. I got the giggles so hard that I was crying from like, okay, this movie is very good. And then of course they kill it by doing multiple sequels. But this movie, Cabin in the Woods, is something that should be remembered forever for being the perfect zenith, the perfect moment, peak explanation of everything when it comes to horror, but then creating a whole new world of horror because of it. And that's why, like, as much I honestly want to talk about Cabin in the Woods so much more, but I think it's the perfect moment to jump into Barbarian, that a movie that before you guys had recommended it, other friends that I have that love movies have, even just only a week ago, a friend of mine texted, we became best mates instantly because he just loves movies, much like, with you guys. And he goes, have you seen Barbarian? I go, no. And he goes, I'd be really interested in your thoughts. And he just left it at that. And I really honestly wasn't going to watch it because horror. You put it on the list. I've heard all these smatterings and all of this discussion about it. What a great movie. Let's say, Ryan, what made you pick Barbarian?
It was just, this movie came out last year straight to, I think it was straight on HBO Max, right, at the time?
It went onto a streamer, right? I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Max. I think it was Max.
Because that's where I watched it. I watched it on Max.
Yeah. And it's
same.
Yeah, because
I'm annoyed we call it Max. Fucking HBO.
Yeah. I heard about it on X. It's not TV, it's Max. Yeah.
I'm gonna.
But no, it like it was. It's the same thing as around every Halloween. I think, or last year was maybe I forget when the Hellraiser one came out, but don't watch that. But this movie just kind of popped up, and there were just smatterings about it on film Twitter, and it was one of those I kept hearing about it from like people I respect, and like other like comedians and just people I follow. I was like, oh shit, I'll check this out. I didn't watch it, and far be it from me. I take after Ollie now too. I try not to watch trailers at all because they just spoil the entire film. So we went into this blind. We had a bunch of people over and we just threw it on. And I was like, oh, or no, I think I watched it. I did a dry run first, and then I showed it to our good core of friends that we all watched it together. I was like, you guys got to see this fucking movie. It's insane. I think I watched it back to back twice, and it just like came out of nowhere. And it's one of those things. It's like, it's criminal that you can't get this on physical, or at least not. I don't think you can at the time. And there was no theatrical release. And this movie would have made like $100 million. Probably.
I agree.
It was so unique.
I agree. Because it's. I think it was Will that was the one that's saying it, but it's like because of Cabin in the Woods. This movie is forced to do something different. And it's much. Ryan, you've been recommending to all of us on the text thread the new movie that has. I saw Guillermo del Toro talking about it. I've seen on Twitter.
No one can save you.
Yes, everyone's talking about that movie, which I may have to watch as well. But so to boil down the premise of this movie, or at least the initial premise of this movie, is two people have, it's basically a double booked Airbnb, which what is hilarious to me, and Ryan,
no.
you know this story.
Oh yeah, I heard
is I have had my own experience of a double booked Airbnb that escalated to physical conflict.
You almost became a barbarian.
Yeah, I mean, basically the quickest version of it, and if they're ever listening to this podcast, but it's like there is no person more entitled than a crazy drunk white girl on her birthday. But it got to the point of her physically threatening my children, and I ejected this girl through the front door of this Airbnb and eventually had to escape with my family. So watching this movie, I go, this is really freaking accurate.
Yeah.
But the thing is, so it's Georgina Campbell as Tess turns up in the worst neighborhood in the whole of Detroit. But it's at night. I mean, honestly, once the sun comes up, I would have noped the fuck out of there.
I will say,
even
if you did watch trailers for this, because they also cast Bill Skarsgård, he was just coming off of like both the It movies, who just has a resting scary face, right?
Yeah, he's a producer of this movie as well. And it's like that's what's so clever about it. Is that she turns up to an Airbnb late, the key's gone. It's knocks on the door, and who answers? It's Bill Skarsgård, and it's just for you. It's like you go, all right, well, here's the creepy guy. It sets up a premise that doesn't pay off. That's just it is a 3-act movie, but it's a 3-movie.
Yeah, the first half hour is a completely different film. It's nuts.
That's what they do. You watch 3 movies in one movie.
Yeah.
In the 3 acts, I was just it was, and you guys that you'd almost teased it. They go, oh, there's a very jarring scene transition, and it's like the whole movie, like the first 30 minutes, plays out as a horror movie, which initially starts as okay, we're sharing an Airbnb with a creepy guy. He's going to be creepy. He's going to kill me. No, halfway through that, 15 minutes in, now there's weird things happening. 20 minutes in, she finds a weird door in the basement, that classic kind of thing. I like that in the moment she goes, nope. And then she forgets all of her nopes and goes investigating. But then it turns out that when Skarsgård goes investigating this creepy little murder room that exists with a camera, there's now an extra creepy corridor. I just love that they kept going. There's more. Then there's screams and everything. And we build up to this moment where suddenly the monster is revealed and you go, whoa, and clap. And we just transition to Justin Long driving down the Pacific Coast Highway in LA.
It's a smash cut.
You're so thrown in this moment. And I'm like, what is this movie? What is
it? Just
happening?
hits the reset button, and then it dives down this other tale of, a predatory actor who's fired from a film, who has to then liquidate his assets, and the only asset he has left is this fucking Airbnb he has in the worst part of Detroit.
Yeah. Which is downtown Detroit.
And not a single RoboCop in sight.
Not a single. Yeah. Where is Ed 209 when you need him?
Where's Murphy?
But so like Ryan is saying, if you haven't watched the movie, it's brilliant. But you get this moment that it just it crescendos, smash cut. We end up with Justin Long, and I love Justin Long, honestly. And this is a brilliant bit of casting as well to put him in this movie, and he's just having the best time. And suddenly he gets a phone call, and it's a very Me Too phone call. It's like you never kind of is he an actor or is he a producer or a writer on a TV show? But essentially, he's been accused of being sexually aggressive and rape. So then, much like that, he's like, "Oh my God, I've been ruined. And he has to go back to try and he can't afford the lawyer. His wealth manager says basically, you've got 3 months till you're broke, and also I'm ditching you as a client. And like you're almost getting this, oh man, this poor guy. And then you get to Detroit and he goes out with his buddy, and it's that great scene of him going, my buddy's like, so what happened? He goes, well, look, initially, like, she's saying no, but you know me, I'm a persistent guy. And you go, oh, bro. That's what I love about this guy is he doesn't know that he's a
right.
He's one of those guys that is just part of the misogyny, is part of the patriarchy, is part of this whole idea that, like,
it's
just girls.
So and it's so and I love that they went against cast by going with like a Justin Long, and I think originally they wanted like Zac Efron in that role.
Oh, he would have been good.
I think
might be
it'd be a very different film. I mean, there's no doubt he could pull it off. He's great, but I think having Justin Long, famously from Jeepers Creepers, be in this role made it so much more realistic, I guess. I don't know.
Mhm.
No, I'm not
Wasn't
saying
it-
that, nothing against Justin Long.
Wasn't he
No,
also in
but
Evil Dead, the remake, Evil, or
No.
that wasn't
I
him?
don't.
He
I
was
don't
in
think so.
you're thinking of Drag Me to Hell. He was in that.
Yes,
Drag Me to Hell. That's right. That's the one I'm thinking of.
That's a great
that's what we should have made you watch,
Oh, well,
You haven't seen
yeah,
that
buddies,
one?
next year.
Oh boy.
man.
Well,
Oh, that's a fun one.
what's
Anyway,
great though, and for me, I didn't realize, but I was reading the sort of the breakdown, is that it's 2 weeks later. Like, for me, it was only
Right.
like 2 days later. So,
yeah.
Mhm.
so like Ryan is saying, is that he now comes. He's the owner of the Airbnb. He turns up at the house and he's like, "Wait a minute, there's bags here, and like, what's going on?" And the door to the basement is open, and he discovers the extra corridor and the murder room. And this was the bit what really made
I'm
me
at the
laugh.
best. The best.
Because he's trying to liquidate his assets. He finds this murder room. Cut to him on his laptop going, "Can I include this in the square footage of my sale?" And it's just so
Then
funny.
it's him reading is like, oh, this is a square footage. It can be property value.
And then
Cut
he
to
finds
him with the flashlight and the tape
Yeah.
measure.
he
Oh my
finds
God.
the extra murder corridor and he starts measuring that too. I was laughing my butt off.
Hilarious. None of this phases him. The creepy
No.
sex room with blood on the walls and the VHS camera, not the extra door that leads to this even creepier staircase.
That is a brilliant reference to the thing that Georgina Campbell's character Tess brings up with Skarsgård. Is, if this was a reverse situation, I would have never let you in the house. Much like my mistake was when I had a double booked Airbnb, crazy drunk woman. I like, "Oh, come into the house and we'll figure this out." Big freaking mistake. I should have dealt with that situation outside. And she talks about like the male privilege of, "You let me in, because you're a guy. You're not afraid for your life." And it's Justin Long just being this clueless guy going,
Right.
"I'm a man. I'm fine. What have I got to be worried about?" kind of thing. And him going down those stairs, measuring the tape. I'm like, dude, I'm going to enjoy whatever happens to you, you idiot.
he's such a self-absorbed, like, narcissist asshole that this murder tunnel, like, just doesn't even click for him. He just doesn't care. It's like, how can I make money off this? Same thing. I was just dying laughing. It was so funny.
So funny. It's so
great.
funny for what it is, for being so creepy. Their ability to do that, and then of course, we also realized, because we've only had like a few sort of minutes of this corridor, and then we had 1 second of the monster being like a 6'5" naked woman with just like this crazy,
Which normally is pretty hot, but in this case, yeah.
not at all in this case. And then suddenly, like, it turns up and he's running down the corridor and he falls into the trap, this cage that's on the floor. And he's freaking out. The door closes, and then Tess's character suddenly jumps in and she's like, "Shh." And then again, smash cut, reset to where? Wait, what? And we've got Joe Chill from
Joe
Batman
Chill,
Begins.
baby. Oh, boy, I knew you were gonna pick up on that.
Yeah,
And the
he
original
walks-
Night King from Game of Thrones. Too.
Oh,
He's
nice.
fucking great.
He
Everything he's in
walks,
is
he walks out the house that we recognize, but the neighborhood is like, it's like suburbia. And it takes you a couple of seconds to realize, we've gone back in time.
and it almost looks like, if you've seen like
Pleasantville.
I was gonna say like Edward Scissorhands, like it's like this perfect kind of colorful, like this perfect colorful suburban street,
Green grass,
very verdant. People are watering their lawns, kids are on bicycles playing, but it's shot from this 1 point perspective in the middle that makes it just deeply unsettling. And of course it's Joe Chill, who's got just henchman face. And
right.
Oh, God.
Yeah, murder face for sure.
Murder face.
And they do some really good stuff, like the director,
Zach
who
Kreger
directed this? Zach Kreger. Some really good sort of sometimes POV, some great stuff with like wide angle lenses, and really plays with the perspective in a way that I really enjoyed. But yeah, so we get this, this second hard reset, the beginning of Act 3. And it gives us a little bit of this backstory. He's just going about his day. He goes to a hardware store, and he's doing some. Oh, I also need some plastic sheets, which anyone that watch horror movies will like, all right, this is for a reason.
The items he's purchasing should raise some flags. He's like, I need, but the woman helping him is totally amicable. She's
because he asks about diapers and stuff like that as well. which
like,
again, once we learn more, gets really messed
here's
up.
Here's this VHS tape on breastfeeding that I just happen to be holding in my hand. Here you go.
And then
which comes up later.
He goes back to the house. He goes in, and when he goes to the back room, as the door opens, you hear the screams of. You can clearly tell that someone is being kept captive. And it only comes out later that essentially that what has been happening is this guy has been kidnapping and raping women, but then also going on to then rape the offspring to create this super mother.
40 years. For like 40 years, that's just they're inbreeding. He's having them inbreed.
And so we end up with this superhuman, almost crazed, naked woman that lives underground, but has been, because of this videotape, like you're saying, this breastfeeding tape, her motivation is to want to be a mother. So suddenly we catch up with where we were, and we've got Tess explaining to Justin Long, because this hand comes down with a bottle. It's like, just drink it.
Maybe the most disgusting fucking thing you've ever seen in your life.
The second most disgusting, because 10 minutes later, Justin Long is basically a prisoner with the mother, and she is force breastfeeding him. And I'm like, wow, of all the things I thought was going to happen in this movie, it's like a forced breastfeeding. And that's, again, I texted you guys, is like, hey, suddenly Mr. Yes learns that no means no. It's brilliantly written. It's brilliantly written.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, somebody should do a supercut of all the bad things that have happened to Justin Long in a horror movie. Like between like this and Tusk and like
Accepted.
Accepted, the most horrifying. The Apple commercials.
I fucking love that movie. Screw you guys.
I like Accepted.
I like
That's
it
a good
too.
movie.
No, it's really good. But yeah, no, it's so gross and so jarring.
Yeah.
But like when you see the hair, like the hairs on the baby bottle.
It's brilliant.
It's
this
so
movie
fucking gross.
This movie is really good. And I'm so glad you made me watch it. And it's also just, when I say well written, is that like the character wise, as far as Justin Long, because it's, the brilliant part where Tess has escaped and got to a gas station and called the police, and the Detroit police turn up and they just suck.
Yeah, well,
So
she looks like a transient. Like she's covered in, she's been in that basement for 2 fucking
and
weeks.
she's come out of that neighborhood, which is just, it's been written off, and it's like, you're obviously a meth head, whatever. And you're just so frustrated and they drive off for a shooting, because it's like
the shot that got me is when she gets back, she goes to a job interview, and she gets back and she's like, she's getting out of her car, and you can see in the distance the homeless man, just kind of like, you just see his silhouette.
Faceless. Girl, don't go in there.
And all of a sudden, no, you don't even hear him say that. He just he just immediately starts running towards her at full speed. She like turns around and clocks him, and then she starts running. I'm like, you don't know what because you don't see until when she arrives at this house, it's pitch black. You don't see anything. It's in the rain. It's the only house that lit up is the one that she's staying at. And the next day when she goes to leave, it pans from left to right and across the whole neighborhood, how everything is so derelict except for this house.
She is in danger.
What happened? Yeah.
She has no self-preservation
but still manages to ignore every red flag, which is bewildering.
It was nothing but, it was a field of red flags.
Yes.
Just surrounded by red flags. That's what I mean, is like Tess made that one good decision about nope, and then forgot nope, and was all yes.
Well, she needed toilet paper. I mean, it's we've all been there.
But then like she's also that good person that then, so she goes back to rescue AJ, Justin Long's character. She's like, well, I've got to go back and help him. And then there's that great twist that, because the two stories are happening concurrently, he's kind of found Joe Chill in this random room. He finds all these videos of realizing that he's this psychopath.
The Dennis Reynolds collection.
The guy pulls a gun out and just kills himself. Great twist as well. But now Justin Long's got the gun, but then Tess has come to rescue him, but she's just footsteps in the corridor, so he shoots her. Yeah. So now he's helping her escape. Then they get to the homeless guy who's like, no, you're here, you're safe. And then we get the deep blue sea moment, the Samuel L. Jackson moment.
Oh
he goes,
God.
She Kool-Aid Man's through the window.
Yeah, she's never motherfucking come here ever.
Awesome.
Bursts through and rips his head in half.
Great.
And so we're just constantly getting these subversions of character and twists of character that when we're now cornered on top of this water tower, and Justin Long's character comes out of like, well, women are disposable. I can survive. And he throws her off the water tower. And the mother, the monster, sort of dives after her.
That shot of her diving off of the
Yeah.
fucking water tower is so insane.
Yeah.
Because how high is that thing in reality to like
It's,
be able to, it's
I
not
love
this
that
isn't
shot.
like this isn't like Point Break where they're skydiving
Yeah, for 20
to
minutes.
catch them.
Yeah.
I mean, this is it's crazy.
It's maybe 2 stories.
Yeah.
But it's
But
hilarious.
then-
Only the girl from Texas Chainsaw Massacre could land that jump.
but then we also get that great, again, this is why I think it's such a brilliantly written movie, is that Justin
Such a
Long's
piece of
character, he lives in denial of who he really is, that when he comes down and he realizes Tess is alive, he starts reinventing history.
You slipped. You
Oh, I had to. I helped you. You're going to be okay. It's like, it's brilliant characterization for this guy. I mean, it's just so spot on that he even then is in denial about how terrible a person he is. And he starts trying to reinvent the history and he's explaining it to her. And that's why I was like going, God damn, this movie is good. Like it's so and then you get the classic trope of the mother is alive, rips his head in half. Beautiful. Just a beautiful.
It's awesome.
Like, it is, because you're like, fuck that guy. But then and then you get, much like we said, in every single one of these movies. So the mother is just like loving on Tess, who's been playing the game, and she's like, baby, baby.
Oh, I can hear it.
And she gets the gun in her hand, and then she just holds it up, but just bang, shoots the mother in the head. Written and directed by.
Yeah.
You know, and it cuts back to getting you a little bit of her escaping, but that jarring, written and directed by. I mean, that's when I was like, that's why I said at the beginning of this podcast, pat on the back, round of applause to the three of us for these 3 movies were the perfect 3 movies for talking about this, for talking about this genre, for talking about how it's done and the influences they've all had on each other. Just brilliant, guys. Like, really, I had so much fun, considering I hate horror movies. When I got to the end, I go, I cannot wait to talk about these. Cannot wait.
Yeah, and it's got to be said, this movie, Zach Kreger from Whitest Kids You Know, he's just known for sketch comedy.
Yes.
So this is like such a huge departure from what he normally does,
but
it makes sense because he's.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was good. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, and it's like this movie didn't have a huge budget, and it made I think it would have made a ton of money, much like Lee Winnell did The Invisible Man, which cost like $7 million and went on to make like $100 million, or if any one of Jordan Peele's movies that just make an absurd, that cost very little but make an absurd amount of money.
No, you are correct. So it was.
Did this movie come out in theaters?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So it was a $4 million movie that made $45 million
for a horror movie. It's
so I mean, you just added a zero. I mean, that right there, you've just, as far as making a movie goes, you are a legend, because you've just added a zero to the bottom line.
Yeah.
So it was scheduled to be released theatrically in 2022 before being rescheduled. Disney reported maintained a theatrical release for Barbarian due to strong positive reception from the studio and test screenings. So it was, I think it came out digitally and it came out on digital download, and it was an HBO Max. It was released theatrically in Australia, New Zealand, UK. So, I mean, that's the thing, Ryan. I think you said at the beginning, had this just been a straight theatrical, I reckon that would have been over $100 million.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same thing happened with Smile. Like they had a great marketing campaign. Unfortunately, all the trailers kind of gave away a lot of the stuff, and that movie was an even scarier film, but it was more jump scary. There were so many jump scares in that by the time, like halfway through the movie, there was a jump scare that caught me so off guard that I audibly screamed in the movie theater. That has never in my life happened, where everyone I was with just looked at me like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I was like, ah! I felt so embarrassed. But this, like, the joy of being able to watch this with a group of people and unfortunately not seeing it in the theater is a crime. I wish I could.
Yeah. It is a fantastic movie. And I'm going to say it again. For all three of these movies, I could have done a podcast episode on just one of them.
And I will say, and if you do watch it again, you definitely pick up on some more of the nuance, like little things here and there, which I appreciate, like from him as a director. You know, like just little things you catch.
Let's quickly let's talk about some of the also rans, which I think will be about 20 minutes of Will going through it.
Yeah, just
because Will was so excited to terrify me. And you came up with a great choice, which is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But what are some of the other movies that you wanted to give me, therapy for?
I really, really wanted to do Exorcist 3, because that's gained like a cult status in the last few years, and rightfully so. That's the best of all the Exorcist movies.
Really?
Even the first one?
Even the first one, yeah. And I say that with my film professor was the assistant director on the first one.
Right, you mentioned
and I've told him, no, 3's better.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah. What do you know?
F. Yeah.
And quick shout out to Terry, Donnelly. Great guy. I don't know if he's still teaching. But just told the story. This is a quick little story about him, not really related to The Exorcist, which he said he had no fun on and he hated working on that. But he worked with William Friedkin a few times, and but one of his first movies that he ever AD'd on was Midnight Cowboy, and the whole scene, the "I'm walking here" scene, is his fault because he didn't block off the road.
He didn't block the cab?
He didn't block the cab.
They
were trying to get a guerrilla style, and that cab almost really did hit like Dustin Hoffman.
Oh my god!
And he was like, when that scene called cut, he's like, Dustin Hoffman chewed me out, and like I felt really bad. But now it's film history. So his lesson to us was always, if you're gonna screw up, just make film history, and it's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Just make sure it's iconic if you're gonna do it.
Yeah, Terry Donnelly,
shut up,
shout
Rain
out.
Man.
Fantastic.
Like that guy that was
film
flying
professor.
the helicopter in the Twilight Zone.
Well, yeah, maybe not that kind of.
For some reason,
legendary-
thought you were going to say flying that helicopter in Cliffhanger. I don't know why.
Yeah, that was a dark joke, but nonetheless, I'm good.
pretty dark.
We're talking horror movies.
The Exorcist 3, and then of course all the movies we can't do because they're not in America. Like The Thing is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, I mean, like when I was talking to the missus, I was like, "Oh, Alien." I go, "Oh no, it's not America. I can't do Alien."
Yeah.
It's like so.
I was thinking of that too.
But given the restrictions we were given, we ended up in such a great place.
Oh yeah, I think.
We're definitely going to do this again. Next year, we're definitely going to do this. I can't wait to talk more about it.
We'll do all the Friday the 13th movies next year. None of them are good, but we'll make it through all of them.
I'm picking Jason Takes Manhattan for our New York episode.
Yes.
So I guess, like at this point, usually we're like, we pick the movie that defines, the sort of state. So I honestly, for me, I don't think it's even a competition because we've got three iconic movies, but one of them scared the shit out of me, and that's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I was like, is there even any argument about it, really? Because that's definitely the State of Fear movie. But I can't wait. I think maybe next year when we do State of Fear, we'll bring three new movies. I think this being a special episode, a special theme.
Yeah,
it was just so fun, and I think if you're like me and you don't like horror movies, or if you're not a massive movie fan. These three movies, watch them in order. Watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre, then watch Cabin in the Woods, then watch Barbarian, and you're going to see an incredible progression in movie history, an incredible progression of the genre, and you're also going to have a damn good time.
Yeah. And I just want to throw this out there. Georgia Campbell, who played Tess, more than welcome to come on our podcast. Come talk to me. I'll give you my number. If you're busy, we'll make time for you. The other two guys, they don't need to be there. Just, I want to throw that invitation out.
Are you saying you have a
Georgia Campbell?
You have a room for rent?
And we won't double book it just for you, Georgia.
What's the square footage on that?
Right. Were there any other movies that you were circling?
Yeah, it's so funny. Like I said, I'm glad. I think we were able to hone in on like picking something old, something new.
Something borrowed, something blue.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, I was gonna go with I think Poltergeist. I have a very fraught horror history because my older brother, when we were growing up, he's 7 years older than me, so he would make me watch horror films that I was way too young to watch. So Child's Play was one, especially as a kid. Seeing that at a very young age was truly terrifying. I think another one was an underrated film. It's called The People Under the Stairs. Fucking creepy.
Harry Potter.
Yeah.
It's actually Harry Potter.
But like, I was gonna go with Poltergeist because that movie also just true, like the iconography of that film is so like burned into my brain as a kid that truly terrified me.
Toby Hooper double feature, man. That would have been good.
Mhm.
Yeah. But
yeah, I didn't have any alternates. I think
Yeah.
I didn't want to do this. But I mean, maybe this is my first foray into, like you said, you guys have made me watch a few horror movies.
like I said, it's immersion therapy. Now you're indoctrinated. You're good.
Yeah, it's happening.
Yeah.
All right. So first of all, if you're listening at home, before we get to where we're going next week, you can always find us online. You can find us on Reddit. You can find us on Facebook. You can find me as That Englishman in Texas, or Ollie Pettigrew. You can find Will as Entitled Willennial. You can find Ryan if you go to his store on Threadless, Rhino Digital, RYNO Digital. But also really do us a favor, like, subscribe, but also share. Like, we're slowly building this audience, and it's great. We love doing this. So do me a favor. That's my little mission. If you're listening to this right now on your phone, on Spotify, on Apple, go to share, go to Facebook, and just post it. Let people know. It's a fun place. It's a fun discussion, and it really is helping just open my mind to more movies, because we really do enjoy doing this. In particular, this episode I think may be my favorite episode so far because it was such a great chat. I'm throwing a random dart this week. I've decided where we're going to go. It's a state I can't spell. We're going to go to the state of Mississippi. Yeah, we got some bangers. Yeah, Will's face. Oh, look at Will's face.
Man.
Yeah. So get there. Ryan's looking. He's introspective. I think I've got one. I'm circling, one or two.
I'll have to see.
That I'm circling as well. But
I just want to know how racist I can go.
Well, yeah, it's going Mississippi burning. Are you going to go? It's how there's going to be a lot of Ku Klux Klan movies. The
sky's the limit on the racism for this one. So
there's going to be a bunch. But so there you go. So guys, get thinking. Think about Mississippi for next week. But also, just one more time, great choices, guys. Great choices.
This was a fun one. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah. As much as I enjoyed the podcast, I didn't enjoy the movies kind of thing, but I did secretly. But watching movies through my fingers is.
We took it easy on you though. I could have stuck you with Terrifier too, and we'd be very different friends by now.
Yeah. Honestly, I can't wait. I can't wait next week to see what we guys pick for Mississippi. To everybody at home, if you are listening or watching, thank you so much for the support. Really, we do enjoy it. Send us messages, send us suggestions for states we haven't got to yet. Send us suggestions for states we've already done, because we're going to keep doing this until such time as like at the end of the world, as foreseen in Cabin in the Woods. Ryan, Will, thank you so much, and for everybody at home, thanks for enjoying this episode of the United States of a Movie podcast.